Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today it's all about the pizza. We are making dough balls. If you love pizza, you should be making it at home. And today we're going to show you how to make the dough. And the reason I say we're going to start with the dough, or how to make the dough, that's the most important thing to a good pizza, is the dough. And you know, a lot of people will think or say, it's hard to make dough for pizza. I don't know how to do it. I don't want to get involved. It's too much trouble. It's really not. One, it's really inexpensive. Two, it's really easy. And three, the flavor, what the end result is going to be, you're going to be extremely happy that you did this. And I'll bet money you never make pizza another way again. Let's dive into it. What do we need? What are the ingredients to make dough? Well, we just need a few simple things. And I'm bringing this over because we're going to need some water. But we're going to need flour, we're going to need water, we're going to need salt, and we're going to need our yeast. And I like a little sugar and a little olive oil in my dough. These aren't required. You might see some recipes that don't use it for whatever reason. I like it. I think it gives a little bit more texture to the dough with the olive oil. I think it gives a little bit more crunch with that sugar. It helps it gets a little bit more crispy on the outside of my dough for the pizza with the honey. So I put those in there. The other very important piece of equipment you're going to need is a good kitchen scale. When you do any kind of baking and making dough or bread or cakes or anything, grams is the method to use. That's the measurement you want to use, grams. Don't use cups, don't use tablespoons, don't use ounces, use grams. Okay, so now we know the ingredients we're going to use. Let's talk about measurements. We're going to make this really simple. I'm going to give you 1,000 grams of flour, and I'm going to do a hydration for these dough balls at 65%. You know, I would say 55 to 60 is the low of where you would want to go as far as hydration for your dough. And, you know, getting up over 70, 72, 75% hydration, anything above 70, it's going to be very wet, sticky dough, and it's going to take some time to work with. You know, the more water you have, the lighter, the less filling the dough is going to be. But we're going to start today with a 65% hydration. I think this is very easy to work with, still eats very well. It's very versatile as far as what types of pizzas do you want to make. So it works for a lot of different pizzas. Okay, let's get started. First thing we're going to do is get our scale, get it turned on. Our mixing bowl, this is going to be for our flour. I'm going to tear this out. Remember to always tear out, zero out your scale. And then I'm going to go 1,000 grams of flour. Pretty easy measurement. Make this really easy to do. What you should end up with is about 275 to 300 grams dough balls. I usually shoot for 275. You might have a little dough left over, but that's fine. Make a little pizza, make a little snack. All right, I'm at 990. Oh, look at that, 1,000 on the nose. Nailed it. All right, 1,000 grams of flour. Get that into the mixer. Next thing we're going to do is get some water, get our yeast in, and get our sugar, which will be our honey in this case, and get that going. So tear this out. With your water, we know we're going to do 65% hydration. So 1,000 grams of flour, easy math, we're going to do 650 grams of water. So zeroing out my measuring cup, I go up to 500 grams. So I'm going to do this with 500, then I'll come right back and get 150 after I get all this in there. Nailing it today, got exactly 500 grams of water. That doesn't happen very often. So 500 grams of water, and then what we're going to do is tear this out. Let's get that zeroed out. We are going to take our yeast, and we're going to put in, I'm going to put 6 grams of yeast in here. Oops, 2/100 over, 2/10 over, not bad, not bad. Okay, once we get our yeast, we're going to come in with our honey. This is the sweetness. This sugar will help the yeast start to activate. Whoops, what did I forget to do? So I put in almost 2 grams already. We're going to tear that out. We're going to add 10 more grams, so we'll have a total of 12. So let's get this up to 10. And that's going to get us to a total of 12 grams of sugar. You can use regular, white sugar if you want. I just prefer the flavor of honey, so that's what I use. And then what we're going to do, get a whisk and just kind of get this incorporated, get it going so it stays active. We're going to let it sit for about 3 to 5 minutes. We're going to see some foaminess, some bubbles. That's going to tell us that our yeast is alive and working. And then we're going to come back and start incorporating all these ingredients into our flour and start making some dough. Okay, we are back, and it's been about 6 minutes, and you can see that we have this gorgeous little bubble foam, our yeast with the water and that honey that's in there. So you can see it down here on the bottom. You can see that ring around there. That's all the bubble. Shows me it's active. We're ready to go. So we're going to start incorporating all our ingredients, and let's make some dough balls. Let's get our dough hook on. And we're going to get our mixer up, turn this on low. So what I like to do is, again, 65% hydration on these dough balls. I like to put in about half of my water with the yeast and the sugar. And then what I'm going to do is put in 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And then I'm going to add my salt. And then I'm going to add the rest of the water and the yeast. So all the ingredients and measurements will be in the description down below. All right, here we go. Let's start pouring this in. And I do think, how you pour this in matters. You don't want to just dump in half and then let it go. It's going to make it very wet, and it's going to take a lot longer for that to incorporate into the dough. So I've just found over the years that I've done this, going slow, making pizza, making any kind of dough, patience is key, but going slow and incorporating this water at a good pace, not getting too much in there at one time, really, to me, a couple things. It speeds up the process of everything getting incorporated quickly so that you can get the large dough ball that you want that will then proof to make all of our other dough balls. Because when you pour all this in too quick, it becomes very wet, and it takes quite a long time for that water to incorporate. And don't forget, we've got 500 grams of water here. We did 1,000 grams of flour, so we're going to do this entire measurement, 500 grams, add another 150 grams of water. That's going to get us to our total of 650, which gives us that 65% hydration. So that's what our dough's looking like. And again, let it take its time. Again, you heard me say it, be patient. Let this just kind of work itself together. It's going to pay off in the long run. A little patience now means better pizza later. All right, I'm going to, 2 tablespoons. You can measure it out if you want. I've squirted this so much, I kind of have an idea what 2 tablespoons is. So I'm going to do 1, and then I'm going to do 2. That's my 2 tablespoons. So we're done with our oil and our honey. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn my scale back on. Give me a little container here, and we're going to measure out 12 grams of salt that we're going to put in here. Okay, get our 12 grams of salt, and I'm going to go ahead and start sprinkling that in. So let this go. I'm going to turn it up. I've got it right now on 1. I'm going to turn it up to 2. Now we're going to start incorporating the rest of our water. And again, go slow. And we're going to crank the speed up a little bit more. Now you heard me say earlier, be patient. You're going to see this dough, and it may look wet. It may look like it's just working and not coming together like you want it to. But just be patient. You heard me say that earlier, be patient. It will come together. It's going to make a really nice ball, really nice dough. You can see I've got that motor working pretty good right now. Okay, so I got my additional 150 grams of water that we'll be putting in here. One thing I don't mind is the time it takes for this to basically knead the dough together, because we're working those glutens. We're getting them, released where they'll stretch out, and our dough will be a little easier to work with. That's what we want. It's going to also help make for a nicer crust when you cook your pizzas. And by the way, just so you know, this dough that I'm making is for another video coming soon, which is going to be bar pie pizza. I've been into making all kinds of styles of pizza: New York style, Neapolitan, Detroit, deep dish, all these different styles of pizza. My absolute favorite, my family's favorite, has become the bar pie pizza. So if that interests you, be looking for that video coming out soon. And sometimes, you know, I keep talking about being patient, and I mean that for a couple of reasons. You're gonna look at this and go, man, it is just too wet. He was wrong. I don't need that much water. You do. The problem is it hasn't been incorporated yet. It hasn't completely gotten mixed in. So be patient, put all the water in. That ratio of 65% is what makes the perfect dough. You can't cheat science. It is what it is. So the water that we're calling for, depending on the amount of flour you're using, in this case, 1,000 grams, we need that complete 650 grams of water. And believe me, it's gonna come together, it's gonna look great, and we're gonna make some fantastic dough balls and then some fantastic pizza with this. All our water's in and it's looking pretty good. This is how it is coming together, and we want it to kind of clean off all the sides like it's doing, but gonna let this go about another minute or two, and then we're gonna get it in a big bowl, let it proof for about an hour, and we'll be ready to make some dough balls. All right, man, dough's looking good. We're gonna lower that down, get our scraper, get it off the dough hook, pop this off. Let's pop this off, and this is what we're looking like. We're just going to kind of oil this up. So what we're going to do is just kind of form this into a nice ball. I'm going to put a little oil on my hands. We're just going to pick this dough ball up. Just kind of, you can see, you're just tucking it in underneath itself, folding it in, and you can see how that just kind of smooths out that dough, makes it look really nice and sheen. And then all we're going to do is kind of close this up on the bottom so it's sealed. Drop that bad boy back in there like that. And we're going to take this oil, just kind of give it a little oil on top, and we're going to cover this up with some saran wrap. Let this proof for an hour. Should double in size, if not a little more. We'll come back out, we'll portion that out, and then we're going to make some dough balls for our pizza that's upcoming. See ya in an hour. Okay, we are back, and we are ready to start making some dough balls for our pizza. We can look at this and see how it's doubled up in size. Really pretty looking dough. I'm excited to make these. What we're going to do, a little oil down. A little oil on my hands. We're going to take our dough and we're going to work it out. Okay, dough tray is what I'm going to use to put the dough balls in as I make these. I'm going to put a little olive oil and we'll kind of get that oiled up in the bottom. Remember what I said. When I flip this out, we want what's the top as it's proofing to stay our top when we use it here. So I'm flipped over, so I'm going to actually take my dough and put it on the right side. And now all I'm going to do is start cutting and making our dough balls, looking for between 275 300 grams per dough ball, and I should be able to get 6 of these. So let's see how close I can get on this first one. I think this is a little light. 288, look at that. Okay, so what we're going to do as we make these is just tuck these in, and then we're going to seal the bottom, and then we're going to pinch it, get it nice and tight, and that's our dough ball. Keeping it on top, tuck it in. And you're going to tuck this, you see me kind of turning and pinching with my thumb. I'm kind of getting this so it closes that up on the bottom, and then we're just going to pinch it in, make it nice and tight. You can see how that tightens up a little bit, and then that's our bottom, and that's our second dough ball. We're going to do this 4 more times until we have 6 dough balls, and we'll be ready to go. Okay, there we have it. Our 6 dough balls. And all right, here's our 6 dough balls. And what we're going to do is put these into the refrigerator, let them proof for 24 hours. You can go 24, 48. Some people go 72 hours for their proofing. I've been doing 72 hours on my proofing. So I'm going to do 24 hours on this fermentation, 24 hours in the refrigerator, and we'll pull these out tomorrow night, but we're going to have some great looking dough balls. That's how you make pizza dough. If you haven't already, please like the video, hit the notification bell so you get notified when I make new videos. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, would you please do that? That helps the channel a bunch. Much appreciated. Until the next video, see you soon.